In recent months, a night out at a bar turned deadly for two San Diego men.
One death was ruled suspicious and is still under investigation. The other has led to a bouncer behind bars charged in the young man's death. NBC7 Investigates reporter Candace Wynn spoke to San Diego experts who say there is an underground industry of untrained, unlicensed guards, putting the public at risk.
Security experts we spoke to say businesses are hiring security guards cheap and turning a blind eye to state requirements. And in exclusive interviews, we learned the problem may be bigger than many of us can imagine.
A night out on the town and a fight breaks out outside a bar. Before police arrive, and if it concerns the business, bouncers and security guards are supposed to be the protectors.
It's not an easy job.
Supposed to be state licensed and trained to keep their cool, to keep people safe.
I've been shot twice, I've been stabbed.
But what happens when they become part of the problem?
Probably 70 to 75% are not licensed properly.
Robert Smith is a former San Diego police detective and the CEO of Nightclub Security Consultants.
There are so many people that want to undercut the system.
In the state of California, nearly everyone working to provide security needs to be licensed. Robert says many of those people, as well as employers, think it's perfectly okay just to have this. It's a guard card, pretty much a golden ticket to getting a job. The problem is, experts we spoke to say guards are getting the card after completing only a fraction of the training.
It's an underground industry, the unlicensed activity.
Roy Ron is the executive director of the California Association of Licensed Security Agencies, Guards and Associates.
These employers are hiring people who aren't trained, aren't licensed, and they're giving them security responsibilities in these bars and restaurants.
NBC7 Investigates wanted to get information from the source, from bouncers themselves. We visited the Gas Lamp and North Park, home to some of the most popular bars in the county.
What do you think of a guard card?
Be honest with you, it's not even appropriate for what we do.
When I initially got my guard card training, it was supposed to be 40 hours, but I only received 6.
Stephen Smith has been the head of security for some of downtown San Diego's top bars. He said he made it a point to get properly trained, completing more job-specific training on top of the 6 hours he received to get his guard card. He says in his line of work, you need it.
I've seen fights break out because, oh, I didn't like your haircut.
So we have a bouncer at a bar that applied deadly force to my son.
Carlsbad resident Mark Gerard Sr. lost his son in December. The 27-year-old got into a fight with Firewater Saloon bouncer Derek Belzer, who struck Gerard Jr.'s head. Belzer was arrested and charged for involuntary manslaughter. He pleaded not guilty.
He was out having a good time with his friends and ran into somebody that probably shouldn't have been in the position he was in.
Good afternoon, calling page C, Derek Belzer.
NBC7 Investigates found Belzer was not licensed to be a security officer in California and has a criminal history.
That's a huge problem, and there's no way to fix it other than legislation.
Who is doing the security? That really doesn't make any sense to me or my family.
The California Department of Consumer Affairs is the agency that regulates this industry and can crack down on unlicensed activity. In a phone interview with the department's spokesman, NBC7 Investigates learned the agency in charge says it's not up to them to make sure companies are hiring properly trained guards.
The owners are responsible for making sure that the people that they hire have 8 hours of training before they are sent out on post.
Spokesman Russ Heimrich also says a security officer only needs to be licensed if the employee is wearing clothing that identifies him or her as security. If the person is not wearing a uniform but is performing the same duties, no license is required. NBC7 Investigates is going to continue to look into these issues. To report unlicensed activity in your area, we have a link on our website, NBC7.com. Candace Wynn, NBC7 Investigates.
Tonight, an NBC7 investigation is getting attention in Sacramento. Our newsroom exposed the local underground industry of unlicensed, untrained security guards. Now an assembly member is working to pass a bill that he says is a result of our story. NBC7 Investigates' Candace Wynn has more on the possible impact across California. Candace.
Mark, Assemblymember Jim Cooper says our story highlighted some concerning loopholes, and local police say the bill is a step in the right direction and more needs to be done to clean up the security industry.
Just 2 weeks after our investigation aired, California Assemblymember Jim Cooper introduced AB 1042. It addresses problems our story exposed involving untrained, unlicensed security employees.
It's a problem. There have been incidents that we've seen in San Diego and across the state and the nation where security officers have ended up injuring and even killing people. So I think training is important.
In February, NBC7 Investigates told you about 2 issues in the industry. One, if a security guard isn't wearing a uniform, he or she doesn't have to be licensed. And 2, many of them are getting these state-issued security guard registration cards and then getting jobs. The problem is, some are completing only a fraction of the curriculum. Nicholas White got the card and took it upon himself to get properly trained.
What do you think of a guard card?
Be honest with you, it's not even appropriate for what we do.
My bill wants to make sure they're properly trained. That's really the most important part.
The bill is in its early stages. Currently, it addresses the uniform issue so that regardless of what's worn, a security guard will need to be licensed if he or she simply interacts with the public. As for ensuring guards complete training,
we're working on that right now, and that's where we're working with the industry. Obviously, it's going to cost some money, and we're aware of that.
CalSega, the association that represents California's security industry, sent us this statement. Even though it may cost more money, it's additional regulation that's sorely needed, obvious by tragic incidents we've recently had. CalSega's executive director is referring to 2 recent deaths in the county involving bouncers. One occurred in Oceanside, which is why we asked its police department what it thought of the bill.
I think it's a step in the right direction. It could probably go a little bit further.
Oceanside Police Lieutenant Leonard Cosby says he's concerned about what he calls some of the bill's vagueness, but he is glad efforts are underway to find solutions to problems he's known about for years.
I think you brought to light something that state legislators should know, that the public should know.
The Department of Consumer Affairs, the agency that regulates this industry, told us they cannot comment on pending legislation. They did tell us, however, in an earlier interview that it's not their responsibility to crack down on the training of guards. That is the responsibility of the business. Candace Nguyen, NBC7.
Candace, thanks.